Welcome back to our series on nutrition fact labels. Today we're going to be discussing part 2 of added sugars. So last week we talked about what added sugar is, what it isn't, and how we can know how much sugar has been added into the food we eat. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how much sugar we should be having a day and why it's so important to keep an eye on that. Why that number is really what everyone keeps talking about. Added sugar, added sugar, added sugar. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how much should we have? Well, the good news for everybody over the age of 2 is the number is not 0. So people who enjoy having something a little sweet, there's room for that. There's room for sugar being added into our diets. The bad news is it's not as much as we might hope it is. In general, roughly, approximately 10% of our daily calories should be coming from added sugar. So for a person getting about 2,000 calories a day, that's going to be 200 calories coming from sugar, which is 50 grams. We don't have to do this complicated math and say, okay, well, how many grams do I need? I don't know. The label will tell you what percentage of your daily recommended intake you're getting. So because we're allowed to have 50 grams per day, each gram is about 2%. So you can just multiply the number of grams of sugar, which is going to be on the label, by 2, and that will be approximately the percentage. It's also going to be written for you, so you don't have to do all that complicated math out. So the number we're going to use to talk about our daily sugar intake is 50. Again, this is going to depend on how much you actually eat a day. People who are eating more can take in more sugar. People who are eating less, like our kids, need to be taking in less sugar. Young children, they don't have a lot of space in their diet for extra sugar. That means that if those kids are eating all of the other nutrients they need, there are about 0 extra calories for them to be eating sugar. If kids are eating a lot of sugar, that means one of 2 things is happening. Number 1, which is more common, is that kids are not eating the things that they need to eat. So instead of having those fruits and veggies and whole grains and dairy and all that stuff, they're having sugar. Sugar is replacing some of the necessary nutrients that our kids need to grow. The other thing that could be happening if our kids are having too much sugar is that they're taking in too much energy for their body. So we don't want our kids to be taking in too many calories and to be storing that as fat. We'd rather them take in the appropriate amount so that they can grow and be healthy. So that means for young children, really keep an eye on that sugar, because the sugar is either going to be replacing necessary nutrients or adding on extra energy to our kids. Once our kids start getting a little bit older, there is room in the diet for sugar. Again, it's going to be about 10%. So if a child is taking in 1,500 calories, that's going to be 150 calories from the sugar. Now, how strict do we have to be about this sugar? Okay, so again, we're going to say 10%. Let's just use the number 50 because that's a really good, nice round number. We're supposed to be, or our recommended intake of added sugar, again, not naturally occurring, is 50 grams. So let's think of this a little bit like we're driving the car and the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. Okay, so if you're going to go like 36, 37, you're probably going to be fine. You're going to start getting closer to 50. Now it might not be so safe anymore. And if you're going to be going over 100, like, you're for sure going to get pulled over. So if our number is 50 and we're getting, 52, 53 grams of sugar, maybe some days 47, it's about 50. I'd say give or take 3 or 4 grams. That's not going to be our biggest area to focus on. If we are regularly, meaning usually on a regular day, getting over 60, 70 grams of sugar on a daily basis, again, that is going to be where we start seeing some problems. The regular intake more than 50 by a significant amount, not 51, not 53, 60, 70. So if one day you or your child exceed your daily sugar intake by a lot, one day, that's something that you're going to be able to handle. Your body will be able to get back to where it functions well. If every day you're exceeding your sugar intake, that's where you're going to start running into problems. Again, because either it's keeping your body from getting the nutrients it needs, or it's just added energy. And that's how we have to think of sugar. Sugar is not the enemy. It's not something where we say, oh, I'm off sugar now. It's something that we say, we like sugar, but we need to be careful, because when we start eating too much of it, either we are neglecting certain nutrients or we're adding in too much energy. And that's why added sugar is such an important thing to keep track of, to keep an eye on. And definitely when you're reading packages for things that you're buying for your family, it's good to keep an eye on that number. So it's really good to just get a sense of what sort of food has sugar and how much sugar does it actually have. And then to start planning a little bit better around how much sugar we are taking in every day. Okay, I will be back next week for more discussions about nutrition facts.